What's up, and welcome to the Single Player Experience Podcast, the premier podcast for single player gamers to find out about good single player games to play. And occasionally we do a deep dive into certain games that we think you should know about or that we have been playing lately. And the latest deep dive that we're going to be doing, you heard our recent episodes, we've been doing everything deep diving into Metroid, we've been deep diving into things like Star Wars, we've been deep diving into God of War and other titles. Well, the latest one we're deep diving into is dun, 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 WWE 2K23. It's a game that I've been playing for a very long time now, but I say we because I am not alone in this endeavor. Joining me on this very illustrious episode of this deepest discussions is none other than Mr. Bring the Popcorn himself, Jason Craig. Jason, how you doing today?
Yo, how y'all doing? It's your boy Jason Craig, aka the friendly neighborhood dreadhead of the Bring the Popcorn podcast. And I'm doing good, Sebastion. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I can't wait to go all in on the bits and details of this WWE 2K23.
Man, that's exciting. But before we get into all that, I got to ask you a couple of questions, a little preamble, so to speak, for the people who don't know you and the people who haven't heard the Bring the Popcorn podcast. Can you give us a little lowdown? Give us some introductions there.
Well, Bring the Popcorn podcast, something I thought of. I like movies, I like TV, I like anime. So I said, shoot. My friends like, you like to talk. Why don't you try to make a podcast and business? I'm like, you know what? I never thought of it. And we've been doing that. Also, keep the audience up to date with news around like just entertainment news, world news, stuff that's going on, politics. Try to keep it up. Try like, social injustice. Try to keep everybody informed. And different varieties. We got bad movie reviews, current movie reviews, retro reviews. End of May, we're gonna be doing the spring recap for anime because we've been eating
Oh,
we've been
I've been on it lately too.
we've
I've
been
been
eating
on it.
we
Yeah.
we've been eating this anime season. So that's another thing. Hopefully I can get you on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's just what we all about. We all about having fun. I'm all about community. Like nobody like I try to keep well respected community. No toxicity in my community is allowed whatsoever. Just fun.
Okay, that's exciting. That's exciting. So, give us a little sneak peek, a little like info of what you've been working on lately. Like what movies have y'all been talking about lately on the pod?
Well, if we did talk about Guardians, but the audio file got corrupted. So
Oh
that
no.
so the only way you can listen to that is going to Facebook and Bring the Popcorn Podcast Facebook group. That's the only way you can see it because I cannot get the audio file. It
Oh no.
some of it's corrupted, but this week, uh, this is per request of my co-host Adam. He
Hmm.
wants to review the Knights of the Zodiac, the Saint Seiya movie, did by
Oh.
Sony.
Hmm.
So that it can either be, decent or really bad. I don't see it being really good.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the Michael J. Fox documentary still because, I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan and it brings an insight on his career and what he's dealing with right now. So we're gonna be talking about that and possibly Bel Air because I have to catch up and so we can talk about it and review it.
I've only seen one episode of Bel Air, period. I hear good things about it. I just like there was around that time when Bel Air came out, there was so much out around that time that kind of like took my attention away from
Right.
the show. And it has nothing to do with like the quality of the show. It's just like we were eating at that time
Yeah.
frame with like especially with streaming shows, and I haven't like jumped back into it. So I'm curious to see what the second season has been like and all that kind of stuff because I hear good things.
Yeah, like I said, I was surprised. I
Mhm.
like this is probably gonna be another soulless, lifeless reboot, but it was actually really good. It showcases black excellence and I like the cast. I think the cast does really well. It touches on a lot of, racial issues that do need to be talked about. And I really enjoyed the show. I just gotta binge it. Anime is taking my time.
So speaking of like habits that probably take up way too much time, like on the gaming sphere, what have you been playing lately?
I have been playing. I'm kind of on and off with Jedi Survivor. First of all, I think it's a huge it's a huge step up for the from the first game. Only thing is the performance issues was a problem for me at first, but then I realized I wasn't playing on performance mode. It
Mhm.
defaulted to quality mode, so everything was just choppy. But when I switched to performance mode, it ran smooth, and yeah, that's just fun. Um, I'm like, how many hours am I into? I'm 50. Well, wow, I'm only an hour into the game, but I feel like I've been playing for. I feel like I've been playing a
Playing for
while.
quite some time, yeah.
I just be exploring. So,
That's fun. That's fun. So, what else you been playing besides Jedi Survivor?
Resident Evil 4, great game.
Okay.
Um, I think it's gonna be there for game of the year because, like I said, it it already it already improved itself on what it was, in my opinion, the masterpiece of the original Resident Evil 4. So I feel like that's a heavy game of the year contender.
Okay, okay. This year is stacked, man. We got a
Yeah.
lot of strong game of the year contenders. As of this recording, I think like we got what probably Dead Space will probably be thrown in there for at
Hmm.
least like right as of right now. You probably have Dead Space, you probably have Resident Evil 4, Hi-Fi Rush will probably as of right now probably be considered one of the best games this year. Tears of the Kingdom just dropped. That's probably going to get a lot of
Right.
consideration. And then, yeah, it's like, as of right now, if we were just doing top six, maybe Hogwarts Legacy and then RE4. Yeah, it's been a strong year for gaming.
Yeah,
It's been
like
a,
now I'm just waiting for one game to drop. I already requested the day off in my job. When that Final Fantasy 15, when that Final Fantasy 16 come out, nobody text me, nobody called me. I'm on that game. I love Final Fantasy, and all the trailers been looking like straight heat. So I'm just ready for that to come out. June need to hurry up and come on.
I feel you. So you got Final Fantasy 16 on the horizon. I'm like that right now with Spider-Man. Like
Oh
Spider-Man
yeah,
towards
I
the end of the
forgot that
year, it's
come out.
gonna be on, bro.
Yeah,
It's gonna be on. That's how I feel about Spider-Man. But yeah, like if Spider-Man hits, if Final Fantasy 16 hits, and if Starfield actually, doesn't end up like Redfall and actually hits like out of this world, then it might be in consideration. This is a stacked year, man.
yeah, man. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I'm glad I game shared with my homie because it's too much money to be spending out here. We had Dead Island 2, Resident Evil,
Hmm.
Jedi Survivor, Wolong. We had all that back to back to back, and like barely any time for a break.
Nah, and no break. And this might be the greatest year in gaming we've ever had, bro.
Yeah,
Like
bro. Yeah.
it's hard to say like because we still have quite a few like I guess we still have like half a year left as of this recording, but man,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything above it. Like if I'm
Bro.
being real.
Yeah, I can't. I'm pretty sure there was a year where it was really stacked. I just can't think of it right now.
I can't think of anything like man, this has been a banger after banger after banger time, and I'm loving it. We're eating over here. So
Oh
I
yeah.
I'm curious though, like, okay, so you've been playing a lot of these, but you've also been a long time gamer of the WWE games,
Yes,
especially
sir.
especially the 2K games. I think like what is your lineage with the WWE games? Have you been did you start with the 2K series? Have you been playing since Here Comes the Pain? Were you like old school like WWE Raw's War kind of gamer? Like what's your lineage like with the franchise?
My lineage goes all the way back to WWF Attitude era, like WWF Attitude for the N64.
Hmm.
I'm a huge wrestler fan. I'm off and on, but that's one thing I've always been a fan of. So been playing since that. Of course, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. That's goaded. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's goaded. Then we got the SmackDown vs. Raw series. Had some hits, had some misses. Then the 2K series. Now you want to talk about some hits and misses? We gonna I'm gonna save it, but 2K14. 2K14. It for me it goes up there with one of the bet with some of the best wrestling games out there,
Yeah.
and 2K20 is one of the worst.
Yeah, we don't. It's like we don't want to talk about that one.
I ain't gonna lie. Like when 2K20 come out, like, oh, Well, I guess the 2K games is dead now. WWE 2K is dead now after this. Then
Yeah.
2K20 was it 22? Gave us a little bit of hope.
Hmm.
Now we got this one, and I've been I put about let me look at it because I got it up on my screen. I have 129 hours in this game.
Woo. Okay. Okay. So not a little amount of time, a lot of
Yeah,
time
I,
into this
I
game.
got a lot of time in this game.
All right. So it's safe to say this might be your most played game of 2023, right?
But no, no, let me. If
Oh,
y'all
there's a no.
if you want to know, I don't know why this game always just has me playing it so much. NBA 2K23,
Oh, the
three
2K.
three
Hmm.
hundred and 28 hours. 328 hours, and a lot of those 300 hours of just pure frustration online.
So it's like one of those love hate relationships at this point, right?
Look, if it wasn't for my homies playing it, I probably wouldn't have that many hours in this. But because my homies play a lot, we love basketball. Yeah, so this has been hours no matter how many stupid teammates I run into and how many headaches and migraines I have to deal with while playing that game.
Okay, so it's safe to say you lean more towards the online facets of playing NBA 2K, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not good enough to play against the computer.
That's all I play against, to be honest. And
like, like Hall of Fame, they on crack on Hall of Fame,
oh
man.
man, they are busted. I'm talking about like straight like OP on that game. But like that's the crazy thing is that's how I play. Like to me,
Right,
like that's how I get my competitive drive, and that's also
right,
like one of those things to where like I don't want to play against people over and over again. And to me, it holds it. I want sort of like a long term narrative that is like the franchise mode, which is my eras. So it's like we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum here, but we both put a hell of lot of time into
right.
that. That's at the end of the year. I like whenever like PlayStation does their like like the wrap up to where like they say what's your most played game and all that kind of stuff. I I probably have that probably within my top three at the end of the
Yeah.
year every year,
I'm
regardless.
I'm 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 hoping that Final Fantasy 16 at top there because every time I see that, I'll just be looking at like why do I torture myself for this many hours?
Hmm. I understand. I understand. But on the WWE 2K front, like so you gave us your past lineage with the series. Mine is very similar. I've been playing this probably since Raw back in the day, like Raw's War, and then I jumped on the SmackDown series. Here Comes the Pain, right? For me, is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite wrestling game
Right.
of all time as well. Made a bit of No Mercy. No Mercy is while it's good, and I know why a lot of people hold that in high esteem. Didn't really click for me as much as like this SmackDown versus Raw. Here Comes the Pain games. Like those really, I like dug their teeth into me, wouldn't let go. And yeah, I love those games completely. I've been an annual gamer of these WWE games ever since. I've for better or for worse been playing all of them, and like you mentioned, WWE 2K probably 20 was probably the worst lowest point that I
Yeah.
probably thought to myself, I maybe have outgrown these games. Maybe these games aren't going to be for me. And
Right.
yeah, thankfully, the 22 kind of turned that back around, and then 23, as we'll probably dive into, might be one of my top five favorites. I'm very much enjoying my time with
Yeah,
20.
man. I'm be honest, like I went through so much. I might put it top three, top five, top three. Like it's just
Ooh, yeah.
it's really good. Like I have some gripes, but we'll get into it.
Mhm.
But besides like gameplay wise, it's probably like the most fluid that it's been.
In a very long time, if not
Yeah,
ever. But yeah, like
yeah.
so let's dive into it a little bit. So, what modes do you mostly play in WWE 2K23?
For me, I just finished the male side of the My Rise. I'm doing the female side now.
Mhm.
And now, but I've been into GM mode heavy, being at the top at the end of every season. You know what I'm saying? Your boy know how to book shows. I know how to book wrestling matches. Take notes, Vince. But yeah, man, I say I put probably the most time in my GM mode.
Okay.
I played showcase mode. It was it was a nice little turn, but it I had my problems with that mode as well.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with that mode. But yeah, man, GMO is where it's at for me. What about you?
I am opposite of you. I put a lot of my time initially into the my career that my career type mode. I kind of or my rise, kind of played the female side of things first and then played the male
Right.
side of things. And I completed both sides of the fence. I was shocked that I think the female story is vastly superior. Like I'm more engaged into my female's characters, like I was more engaged with her like progression, her like
Right.
storyline, the ultimate villain of that way more so than the ultimate villain that you'll run across on the male side of
Right.
things. The male side of things almost felt like the typical authority figure, like you had to like fight the authority off. Like on the female side of things, it felt like you were fighting like a real personal dilemma, and we'll kind of get into that a little later. But like I've been playing lot of that mode, and then I played like you a lot of my GM mode. I thoroughly enjoy the mode. I do think it still needs a couple of like minor improvements. I'm glad they added the mid card titles on
Thank
both
God.
sides of the fence. Yeah,
Thank God.
we needed
Because
that bad.
I was like, what's the point of having a GMO if I can't have a mid card champion? Like it made sense, but like yeah, but I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll sim it. I'll
Hmm.
sim like just regular shows. But I'll play like some of the bigger shows, even though it doesn't matter what you do in those matches, it won't increase your stars
No,
whatsoever.
that's ridiculous. By the way,
Which they need to tweak that. They need to
yeah,
tweak that. Cause I'll be like, I'll be putting on some
five
bangers
claws.
like five stars and said, no, you got 2 stars for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things to where like I also feel like they need because the game like my GM works as like a almost like rock paper scissors
Right.
system to where like this side like these two people are the only people that put on like great star matches whenever they're tied to each other. And I feel like it is the most Vince McMahon logic of thinking
Yeah.
ever. It really is. It's like big man has to be with very small guy or cruiserweight. Then you kind of have like, oh, you have specialist, but like specialist really kind of like they're just okay. They're just like out there and you can put them with everybody. But like a brawler needs to be with a tactician and vice versa. And I'm like, I feel like there needs to either be more types or they kind of need to just like figure out a way to implement that system to where it feels better. What do you think?
Yeah, because I kind of I you can kind of cheat the system
Hmm.
by having to like say like you're running out of some of your matches getting stale. You could run like a two heal program, but the
Yeah.
only thing is they have to be high popularity
Hmm.
because they'll still get good star ratings. It's just but you have to tweak it, and that's the thing because it's not running by Wrestling World Logic today
No.
because there are face versus face rivalries. There are like tweeners. Like you can't really even have a tweener in that mode, and like there are heels versus heels, and like you said, they need to have online capability for my GM mode
Hmm.
in some type of capacity because it's cool that they made it locally, but nowadays nobody's really doing couch co-op no more.
It is very far and few between the couch co-op thing, but yeah, uh, for me, I'm looking at that mode and everything it represents, and I'm also thinking to myself, I'm like, I would love for it to be expanded a little bit more. Like I like the fact that you can add, I think it was like up to 4 GMs now, to where
Hmm.
you can like face all 4 of them off at the same time. But like I one of the things that really feels weird to me is like you have a free agency, and on that free agency, like these, it feels like people are constantly rotating in and out of that free agency, and I'm like, I at you can almost look at the other people's rosters and the matches that they put on, and they're not using those people at all. So it
Right.
kind of makes me feel like, oh, they randomize free agency and kind of like, oh, this person hasn't appeared in free agency in like 5 weeks. Okay, now he's popped back up. Especially if
Right.
you do like a two-person show, and I'm like, okay, I know this person didn't have like this like Rey Mysterio, for instance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is Rey Mysterio? Why isn't he in free agency if there's just two people going back and forth and that person's not using Rey, you know?
Yeah, and also I wish, because for me, I also like creating, like creating my own wrestling brand, own wrestling show.
Same here.
I wish you could import your own show into the
Oh,
GM mode,
that'd be great.
because you can import your creative wrestlers, you just can't import creative shows and titles. I wish that was the case.
Yeah, I also wish like we would actually like be able to import legends into just them being a GM, and like for legends they can probably have like their own like special attributes.
Right,
Almost, like say if JB what would it be like if JBL ran SmackDown?
right,
And that would be an interesting like way to play the game, to where like what was his special abilities be? Well, like maybe since JBL's rich, quote unquote rich in the WWE landscape, like he starts off with an extra meal to work with. And
right,
I feel like that would be really cool like setup, to where like, okay, like JBL's really rich. The $1 million Man maybe has that like ability as well. They're two like historical rich
right,
characters. But then like Stone Cold Steve Austin has like a popularity boost because he was like a very popular superstar during
right,
his time. Like, like maybe like Molly Holly, Howard Trish Stratus has like a way of working with female superstars to boost like the female side of things. I feel like
right.
there's so much more they can like do with that mode that they haven't even tapped yet.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it was a vast improvement from last year. Like it's still, uh, I say it's still to me one of my favorite modes. Like my
Mhm.
factions, I
I
don't
don't touch
touch
it.
that. I don't touch it. Like, but then like even they tried to tweak universe mode a little bit with where you have a little bit more control, which I did kind of like. But other than that, like I said, most of the game modes are solid. Most of the game modes are solid.
Yeah, yeah. This is the most replayability I think I've
Yes.
found out of any of the games in a very long time, maybe even 10 years. Because
Right.
like you said, like the game modes are solid. Like My Universe is a mode I haven't dived into a whole lot, but it makes me want to, now that they added the ability to where like you can make certain outcomes of matches,
Right.
like, and change that. If I want to have like, oh well, I'm just gonna use my Braun Strowman like took out Ricochet, and like at the end of the match, I can have to where he hurt Ricochet. I can have that kind of
Right.
like story and such like coming on, and then like say at SummerSlam when Braun Strowman's in a match for the title, I can have Ricochet run in, and I'm like,
Right.
I feel like that part is really cool. I like that. I like the way they kind of made it a sandbox to where you can kind of have the freedom to work and do whatever you want. I just wish they would almost combine that. I wish there was almost like a hybrid between my GM mode and
Right.
that mode, to where like you can kind of do a little bit of both, to where you can kind of see like, oh, I created a storyline. Now I want to see how that storyline like is rewarded in my GM faction and in my GM way. Like,
Right.
how cool would that be if like you came up with that storyline and you get to see how fans like really feel about you being not only just a booker, but you being a storyline booker, you know?
Right. And like that's the thing. I don't know if you like follow any of like the YouTubers that do their own call leagues, but I
Hmm.
feel like they're trying to tailor universe mode more to people that do call leagues, because so many different cutscenes can play
Yeah.
out, and that way you can import that, like capture that, and then use it for your show. So I really wish they did more, because there's still more that they can grow in that aspect. Like especially like one thing I am kind of upset that they did take out was the promo system.
Oh
Like
yeah, for sure.
I like that was a cool concept, because you actually had to think about the right response. And I thought that was a pretty cool concept. I don't know why they took it out. Um,
They could at least leave those type of modes in and that type of
right,
setup in the My Rise mode, because then it
right,
would be like, hey, like, how good are you at actually cutting a promo? Which is
right.
really like, I'd probably say like 60% of being like an over superstar in
Shoot,
the
I say
business.
more.
Yeah,
I say more, just because your mic skills determine everything. I mean, look at Shinsuke Nakamura. No matter how great of a wrestler he is,
that's true.
he's not the best English speaker, so they really don't push him like he's supposed to be. But yeah, I really wish they never took that out. because like there's a lot of things that I feel there's a lot of things that they can put back in the game. Like to me, this game is already really, really good. Like it's a really high grade for me, but I feel like it could be better if they would have just tweaked a little bit more. But 2K have been good ever since the dumpster fire that was 2K20. They've actually uh like raised the bar
Yeah,
for the past two editions. So I'm happy about that.
yeah, for sure. It's almost like, I don't know if this is like substantial. This is me being like speculating a little bit. It's almost like WWE to put a fire under their ass and basically said like, hey, like, we are basically not happy with the performance of 2K20, and if you want us to renew your license, like, hey, you gonna have to do better. Like, or we'll go to EA or someone who will do better. It almost
Yeah.
feels like that, and they to their credit, they came out of the gate swinging with these last two iterations. Like you said, it could be like they could do a whole lot better than what they're doing, but like it feels like progress. It feels like we're moving a step forward in the right step. I
Yeah,
like that.
because if I'm not mistaken, think what had happened was I think what had happened was I think WWE Games, they tried to use their own like their own like their own what do you call them?
You talking about engine?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they try to use they try to start use a brand new engine and try to get off that old engine, and it was just bad. And then WWE also said we might want to keep 2K because there's another company out there that wanted to make a wrestling game as well. So we might want to tighten things up a little bit. And I'm glad that they have. That's why I said I love competition.
same here.
Some people hate AEW, some people don't like AEW. Me personally, I like both. I just like wrestling.
I'm the same
So
way.
any competition, it makes the other product better because I'm not gonna lie to you. For years, I was kind of straight away from WWE because I said it's just the same person I'm seeing on my screen every week.
It was a Vince McMahon. Let's see how we can get
Yes.
Roman Reigns over this
Yeah.
week. Let's see how we can get him over this week. And he was trying to build Roman as that next John Cena, and it was just not working.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working. Or like it was almost like Hulk Hogan back in the day. Like it's like I don't think Hulk Hogan would have been success in today's time
Oh no.
because nah, let's be real.
Oh
I'm
no.
like
Oh no.
he can't cut him. He can't go really good promo like in today's time. What we require from good promos, like he's too stiff to wrestle like we
Yeah, but
wrestle
he was
today.
not he was a whole people used to love Hulk Hogan matches. I go back and watch them and said these matches
Or
are low
rough,
they are rough to watch.
or
Like
rough.
even Randy Savage couldn't get a good match out of Hogan. I'm like, this is a rough watch.
No, and to this day, like I can't think of a match to where I'm like, oh, that's a great Hogan match outside of like two, and I think it's the Rock match and the
Yeah.
match where like Shawn Michaels spammed the hell out of
Oh no,
Hulk
that just
Hogan.
I just love that match just because of how ridiculous Shawn Michaels made him look.
He
I just love
did. He really did. He went over the top to put the match over. To this day, I don't think there's no one can do any more tomfoolery than Shawn Michaels did in that match. Like you can't tell me Shawn didn't overact. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I love it too.
He was the most petty man probably I'd ever seen at that point. But I really want to dive back into 2K. Like, who do you mainly play as? Do you when you normally play your exhibition or maybe your like outside of my rise and such like that?
For me, I mainly use my created wrestlers. I got a whole roster of them because also like a shameless plug. I'm also trying to start my own call league. So just just making wrestlers, testing them out. Bad Bunny is actually surprisingly fun to use.
I mean, it's no surprise considering, like, hell, he had a really good match like the last couple of weeks. As
Yeah,
of this recording, we're coming off of like,
backlash.
yeah, backlash with his match with Damian Priest at Puerto Rico, and that match, for better or for worse, I'm like, I wouldn't call it 5 stars, but it was very good match.
It was better than that main event.
Oh yeah, for sure it was. For sure, it should have been the main event of that
Yeah,
card.
yeah. Man, can we just have can we just have backlash in Puerto Rico from now on?
I'm right there with you. Oh man, that crowd is so good. That
Yes.
and Bad Bunny's entrance with that
Oh
crowd.
man.
Oh
Well,
my goodness.
I put that song on my playlist. Like, yo, this is kind of this a bop right here.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Oh man, it's so good. Like, and it makes me want to like. It makes me want more diverse like settings for WWE like crowds, and that's something like the 2K games can implement as
Yeah.
well. Like, I would love to actually see like different chants and different like environments for different games or different settings in WWE. Because
Right.
like here you have an arena with the Tokyo Dome that you can unlock. You also
Right.
have arena in Mexico and one in the UK, right? Am I missing one?
Okay, Tokyo Dome.
Tokyo
You
Dome,
you said UK,
UK.
so that's Wembley.
Uh-huh. No,
Um,
like in the game, like you can unlock one in my
oh yeah,
rise. Yeah.
oh yeah. So yeah, there's Tokyo Dome. There's one in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
They should I don't think they should it should be a thing, but there should be a Saudi Arabia arena that you can unlock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it because of reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah,
There should
I'm
be there should be I don't know if there is one, but there should be a Canadian one. I feel like there should be a Canadian one.
but even then, it's like you should always like implement maybe a home crowd element to
Yeah.
the game. And I like they kind of like tease it a little bit on the My GM mode where like a wrestler would come
Oh
up
yeah,
to
but
you
like
and
it's my
say,
home like I'm my
exactly,
home crowd. And like something like, damn, you about at 29% stamina. How about cutting a promo instead?
exactly, exactly, exactly. And you know, that's another crazy thing to me is like the popularity versus like the ways you can get people popular. Some of them you can kind of experiment a little bit on my GM mode, and like I had a couple of people who were they were enhancement talent. Let's just call it who
Yeah,
it is. Like they were almost the created wrestlers who were in basic
generic.
enhancement. Yeah, enhancement talent, and then like all of a sudden they would just get popular on my show for no reason at all. Like I had one girl who was in I brought in as enhancement talent because I needed a giant, and she was like she fit the bill. She was a giant for my cruiserweight champion at the time, and all of a sudden, like I kid you not, she got over, and her popularity went from 29 to 71 in the span of like 3 or 4 weeks.
I'm telling you that, bro. That's how you cheese it, bro. You pay for talent that's not that like you pay for talent that's like development talent. You use that card. I think it's superstar in training.
Yeah,
Slap that card on them. Then keep having them cut promos. They used to have a card where you can up their promo ability, but I think they took that out.
yeah,
I
that was
think,
OP. That was
yeah,
OP.
that was. Well, I'll be like, I'll be trying to buy that every time I see. I don't care how much it costs. But yeah, man. But yeah, but like just the game is just fun. Like the game
It
is
is.
just like showcase mode. Showcase can be a little bit. I
Let's talk
feel
about
like
that. Yeah, let's talk
yeah,
about that. So
it.
what did you think?
I like the different spin on it to have different variety with the matches. How you play as the opponents of John Cena. Only thing I don't like is hearing that generic ass rock music in the back
Oh, that
actual
sucks.
instead of actual commentary. So it's like even though it feels every match feels different, it feels lifeless because I don't know. I'm pretty sure you watch. I'm pretty sure you watch wrestling during John Cena's career
Yeah,
and
for sure.
everything. And like a lot of his matches, I feel like some of those are some of the best called matches like of that era. Like especially anything with him and Edge or Randy Orton, it was just like I wanted to hear some of that commentary. Then they had some matches. I feel like why was this in like the Night of Champions match between him and Triple H? Like that's
That
not.
was a weird one. That was a really
Yeah,
weird one to choose from. Yeah, like I think they probably could have put in a little more wins, like to where we were actually playing as Cena, and we
yeah,
kind of like because if they just had to get Triple H in there, especially with that Triple H era, to where like he was basically like the big boss of WWE and such of that. I would have preferred when him and Triple H had that WrestleMania main
yeah.
event.
22, 22.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
love that. I love that main event.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It was I feel like you can, like you said, incorporate some of his wins because some of his wins are some of his best matches. You could have incorporated him and Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 23,
Oh, so good.
was some of like I be on Peacock just like rewatching some of the WrestleManias. You
I
could,
was you know, like you mentioned like that WrestleMania match that night after, boy. That
oh
was
man, that fucking 60-minute match.
Iron Man match, yeah, or like
Yes,
match, yeah, like yeah, that's goated to me. Like that's
yeah,
probably
like
one of my top 10 moments in probably the last 10 years.
it's
And
just
when and Sean like floats over the attitude adjustment and
yeah,
then
and
like
into
hits him with
a
that sweet
switching
chin.
music. Yeah, like
Oh, so good.
I tell you all the time, yo, that's one of the best Raw matches in history. I've never
Oh
seen
yeah.
a match that good on Raw since. But yeah, you could have incorporated, yeah, you could have incorporated that in some capacity. And then it's like instead of watching it play out in the gameplay of some of the big moments in the match, it goes back to regular footage. It kind of throws off the pacing a little bit. And I don't get that because here we are. John Cena, in my opinion, he's one of the greatest of all time. That's just my opinion.
I
He's
feel
one
you.
of the greatest of all time. He's actually really good in the ring, great on the mic. It's like I feel like he should have had more respect, but it's like I guess I get it because they had other aspects of the game they wanted to flesh out. But I feel like, come on, man, John Cena is a guaranteed, not even just WWE Hall of Fame, just he's gonna be in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
so you got to show him that, like, the same respect you showed Rey Mysterio, the same respect you showed the Attitude Era showcase, the Stone Cold Steve Austin showcase. You got to show him that same respect, and I feel like they didn't.
Yeah.
Now, I would,
Maybe it's
I,
because he's not as beloved as like all these because a lot of his career, even though he plays face, like he was kind of a heel to a lot of us, like a lot of wrestling fans in general. Maybe that's the reason why they didn't go that route.
but I still feel like you can. I feel like you can play devil's advocate. You can do some wins and some losses
Hmm.
because, like you said, a lot of those matches, I'm like, why the fuck is this here?
Yeah,
Why,
exactly.
like, why is triple? Like, I'm like, I don't even. I had to think back, like, I don't even remember this match. I don't even remember the Night of Champions match. And then what was another one that was on there?
The Night of Champions one is like there was some where he was like it was the old school Cena's that kind of
Yeah,
didn't make sense to me as well. Like, you know, like the him and Undertaker match when Undertaker was like the
American
American
Badass.
Badass versus him being the dead man. Like that one was a decent match, but I don't think it's like one of his most memorable when he was
Yeah.
like heel Cena or anything like that. Like, but yeah, that one there was a couple of other ones.
The Brock one, I was just like, I'm tired of playing this.
I understand
Yeah.
that completely. I
Like,
understand. The
I
German
like,
suplex, Brock.
yeah, I was like, why? I'm like, first of all, me playing, this match. This me playing is longer than the actual match went.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Because I'm like, it took me probably like what felt like 10 minutes to keep spamming German suplexes
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not fun. This feels like home. This feels like work. This legit feels like work. Now, I will say, it has one of the best insider jokes for wrestling. Like, if you beat everything, it is the best insider joke in
Hmm.
all of wrestling that I unlocked. Have you unlocked Super Cena yet?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Man,
I like that.
I
That was fun.
I actually got a good kick out, which My Rise, I like. Reason why I love My Rise is because of, if you are a huge pro wrestling fan, a lot of insider jokes they weave into that, which I like. Like, you know what? I like that because it shows that these games are being made by wrestling fans
Yeah.
instead of just being a corporate money grab like an NBA or a Madden. Like, there's actual care put into some of these modes.
I also like the like in My Rise that they have like reoccurring characters that you've
Yeah,
seen in other like My Rise games. Like
like,
Cole Quinn is like
yeah,
one of those
okay.
guys. Yeah, you see
It
him
used to
in
be
every
Baron Blade. It used to be Baron
yeah.
Blade,
I
but I
forgot,
don't
yeah,
know what
about
happened
Baron
to
Blade.
Baron Blade, man. I've been like, man, when Baron Blade gonna pop up?
Mm-hmm. And maybe he aged out because like I have no idea because now it's like who was the antagonist in last year's? He was just like he was
I
the
never see. I didn't finish it all the way, so I don't know.
Oh, like one of the early guys you were in a rivalry with was like he was the guy that was wearing he was a big guy. He was wearing like all these like armbands, very similar to what they used to wear in like NBA back in the day, like those like
Right.
But like, anyways, long story short, it's like he was like one of your like early foes in my rise, and now like he's been kicked off the WWE roster and working at New Japan basically. And it
Oh,
was
okay.
really cool to see how that came full circle. And I'm like, somebody's paying attention. And Cole
Yeah,
Quinn, who used to be like one of the people you come up with in NXT like last year,
right.
he was working mocap like for the
Oh
mocap
yeah, I remember
studio.
that. Yeah, like I said, I think out of all the modes besides GMO, my rise is my favorite because like some of it, yeah, it has its corny moments, but most of the time you can actually take the story serious.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
For sure.
like like I know you say you like the female side more. I'm
Mhm.
still playing through it, but I did like the aspect of the male side of if you wrestle like Cody Rhodes and all that, you get to actually play through the grind that a lot of these wrestlers had to go through on the indie circuit. Like, cause
Mhm.
I watch all types of wrestling. Like my week is all wrestling. It's WWE, AEW, MLW, TNA, New
Oh,
Japan.
you're watching more than I am because I am
Yeah,
watching MLW. I can't. I haven't sat through an Impact show in so long. It ain't even funny.
man. Look, I saw my boy Santino back.
Mhm.
I gotta watch this. And then my girl Trinity Fat too or Naomi. No
Yeah, I
WWE.
saw her. I saw she's back in.
Yeah,
Well, she's Impact
yeah.
now. I'm happy
And
for
like
her.
and I just love to see different companies because different companies have different fields. If you want the world entertainment aspect, you go to WWE. You
Mhm.
want world entertainment mixed with indie, you go to AEW. If you just want to see illegal wrestling that should be illegal, you watch CZW. Like it's just a lot of wrestling, and I like the fact on the male side how it actually embodies. There's a grind for people that leave
Mhm.
WWE and have to build back up the image. Now for the female, I do like the aspect of your aunt was a WWE legend, and you can either try to make your own way or you try to follow in the footsteps. Me, I was a rebel. I said, no, fuck that. I'm not wearing my aunt's gear. I'm going to do it my own way. And one thing I do like, there's replayability to both sides
Yeah.
because of the branching storyline decision. So I like that, and it's 25 hours a piece. I think they said.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. It's meaty.
yeah,
Like I went the opposite route. I actually was a kiss ass and wore my aunt's gear and such like that. And I bet the end result was the same. But you're right. Like you can do like different roads. And to one example is like on the male side of the fence, like you beat the male side, right?
yeah, I beat the male side.
All right. So like like what faction did you join? Were you Evolution or were you the Hurt Business?
I was the hurt business.
See, I was Evolution, and I bet like the story probably ended up in the same way, but like the
Probably.
nuances of what happened, because I'm so curious on what happened to you, like how you got kicked out of that group and ended up overseas versus how I probably did. You know?
Uh, for me, I got kicked out just because because I was saying I was the leader and
Oh,
and like MVP, I forgot the other dude's name, but he said instead of me and the other create computer generated superstar beat go for the tag team belts, that MVP and him go for the tag team belts because we lost our match.
that's the exact same story as
Yeah,
Randy.
yeah,
Randy and like the guy, he was the guy who was basically like the computer generated version of the Miz, and
yeah,
yeah, like he was a lifer that had been there for a really long, like a couple of years now, and he was just like not getting anywhere. He had been like U.S. champion like 3 times or and such like that. Like, yeah, that storyline is the exact same storyline I
yeah,
went through. It's just a little different.
and it should be different because Randy would never go for it. Randy would never if he's the head of the faction, he would never go for a tag team, but he would keep the main title to himself.
Hmm.
Like so like a lot of the stuff in both sides they kind of go against what they build up these wrestlers have built their characters up. So I wish that could have been different. But even though it's still like you said, it's still like it's the same, authoritative figure. I still had fun just because like I said, it was my character and me going through the journey.
Hmm.
I don't know why they couldn't. Then like I guess William Regal wasn't a part of the WWE when this game was made because
No, no, he was still under AEW.
yeah, because Tavish, I'm like, this is literally William Regal. Like, like this, like, like talking about his WCW match with Goldberg
Hmm.
and like this. I think this is supposed to be William Regal, but he just wasn't able to do the game.
Oh yeah, that's exactly who it probably was to a T. I'm like, that is Sir William Regal's like whole
Yeah,
journey. And and even then it's like I think like some of the things with what happened with like on the women's side of the fence, I think like a lot of that woman's story, like your aunt story, almost feels like Mickey James in a sense.
yeah,
Like a lot of it's not exactly her. They kind of mixed it in with like little Mickey James, little Gail Kim, a little different, like different female wrestlers from that
right.
time of the fence. But like, yeah, it feels like they just took inspiration from a real life story and kind of made kind of like a story out of it. But I like the way like the female side of it shakes out a little bit more because it feels like a new it this feels like a story I would love to see what would they would do in real life if Triple H was booking it.
Yeah, and it actually made me say, you know what? I want a tag team Money in the Bank contract now.
That'd be cool.
That would actually be kind of fun
That would be
because
cool.
like I've always like ever since it's been introduced, I've loved Money in the Bank. I think it's one of the best concepts that they have made. Besides that, and implementing Triple H's own like style of war games, those have been my two
Hmm.
favorite matches just to watch and just to play.
Yeah, so let's dive into war games then. Like war games came for the very first time, I think, at least maybe since I can remember, at least in a
Right.
video game. Like, what was that like for you? Did you enjoy the match? Like, have you played a lot of it?
I played it once, on the male side, and I had fun.
Hmm.
I think it's a very cool addition, and it feels like it doesn't feel like every other match. Like it doesn't feel like every other match. It has its own feel to it, and I do like that.
I'm right
Like
there
it's
with you.
like I like how you can jump off the top. You can bring in your own weapons.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man. Like it's just a really fun kind. Like I've always said, like war games should. I feel like war games would be kind of hard to mess up if you implement it in a game
Hmm.
because, like everything is so chaotic, but it's still very fun. And it's my only like my hesitance about it being in a video game was how bad would the visibility be with it
Oh
being
yeah.
but it was actually I like, oh wow, they actually were able to make it actually visible, and I do like that. That's one thing that the games have always improved on is like like the feel of a wrestling match, like
Hmm.
the different camera cuts and whatnot. So I did like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and you kind of brought up something. By the way, before I dive into this next like this subtopic of that, like I do like the board games as well. I feel like it's a great iteration. I feel like it's a good addition to the match like types. I do feel like we need more match types, but I'll dive into that in a second. But I want to touch on something you just brought up. Like you brought up the pacing of matches and how this is a simulation game, so to speak, and how it's important to get that feel right for matches. Like I'm looking at WWE 2K23, and one of the things that stood out to me personally is the fact that they brought stamina back. I love that.
Right.
I love that. It
Yes.
feels it feels like a pacing of a real match again.
Right. Right. I love that because I don't know if they still have it in the game, but one thing I did like that they had for like a game or two was
Mhm.
tired finishers. I love
Oh,
that.
love that.
I
Yes.
don't know if it's still in the game. So people have put videos on saying that it's in the game. I've yet to experience it, but like moves like the RKO, I
Mhm.
like tired
The
finishers.
attitude adjustment
The
when he's
attitude
tired.
adjustment.
Oh, so
Yeah,
good.
and like this game, I feel like it still has that perfect balance of simulation and arcade, and with a little bit of fighting game to it because with
Mhm.
the combos and whatnot. I feel like it's a nuance that needed to be added to the game because you can only do so much simulation, and they made it more streamlined, but also it still takes skill, which I do like.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It has like almost like you said, like a fighting game feel to it, like a Street Fighter combo type of feel, where it kind of like you still have that simulation side of the fence, but you also do have those combos that you can break out, and the combos kind of lead into moves and such as like grapples. There's a combo grapple, there's combo breakers, and everything on the reversal side of things. I like that. I want to touch on something we just like brushed over a little bit ago, and that's the match types. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like they're missing some matches that you'd like to see? If so, which ones?
Bring back special guest referee matches.
Yes.
Bring back that. What else would I like? I would like more environment, like environmental interactions, especially like
An
um
ambulance match, a coffin match,
yeah. Well, not really
Inferno.
call. I want to say like call me in front of me, like I said, those are in previous games. They really weren't fun.
No, yeah.
Maybe maybe an ambulance match they could probably do now. But I wish that like I remember in the old games where you had like the very very tall ladders,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
and then you like you push the ladder over, they fall outside the ring or whatever. I
And
wish
they
they would.
were hurt back in the day.
Yeah,
You were hurt
yeah,
from it.
yeah. I wish like that was a thing where it was like tall ladders were like because in these matches they fought like some people get pushed off the ladder and they fall outside the ring through tables or through ladders. I wish there was a way that they can implement that because it used to be in previous games.
Hmm.
Um, commentary. I'm sorry, get Byron Saxton off my commentary.
I'm the same way. I don't want him on the commentary period, much less on the game.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
don't got personal vendetta with him, but it just he just doesn't work with commentary. I do like the new dude, like the Irish dude.
McGinnis, is that his name?
Yeah. No, not McGinnis. He's on the Raw
Um,
commentary team with Corey.
yeah, I can't remember.
Something Patrick. That's something Patrick.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
I liked him, especially if you can't get McAfee, because I think
Yeah.
McAfee would be perfect
Oh,
in a
McAfee
video
was
game.
excellent. Yeah, McAfee was great. And like I just wish that, commentary they could at least try to update it every so often so it just feels fresh and that they can make the crowd noise feel real because sometimes the crowd noise is sometimes muted during matches.
Yeah,
When
for
like
sure.
when a big moment is happening, I feel like the crowd should pop. If someone's in a home, if someone's in a home crowd, like if it's a hometown of a superstar, I feel like it should be a huge pop. I feel like Cody Rhodes entrance,
Whoa.
yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like it should be louder. Even though I don't like the whole thing with Seth Rollins, that should be louder. It just feels like it's just like the crowd is muted for a lot of these things. It doesn't feel like an actual
Live
like
event.
yeah, live event.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Like that's a part of my critique as well. Like I would like this game to feel live, like more live and more like fluid, and also like make it a reflection of what's going on. And like I know this is wishful thinking because this is like a yearly, like iterative game, but like please make it like as close as possible to what's going on when the game comes out, because like Sami
Oh,
Zayn is
yeah.
completely outdated now. Like he's completely outdated in this game. Or
But
like,
but you know why they do that because they know the people those YouTubers that
mhm,
make a living off this, they do a fantastic job with that creation suite.
they
Because
do.
I'm talking about they be on it. Like I'm like, wow, some of them AEW wrestlers like they look like they were actual models sculpted in the game.
Boy, they do CM Punk and Kenny Omega like
Yeah,
nobody else.
like John Moxley, he looks really
Hmm.
good. And like I said, I do like this game because it wrestling fans get a lot of flack, but wrestling fans are super creative. Like
Oh, for sure.
I just go through the career history just downloading people's wrestlers because like wow, they put a lot of time and effort into their superstars and just the superstars, the wrestlers, like actual wrestlers.
And besides, yeah, I'm right there with you, because like besides my like who I call me, or in the WWE universe, like besides my main character game, I don't create nobody else. I go into that creation suite and I just download everybody that I feel like I need, and I just use everyone else's
Yeah,
creations.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't have the time nor patience to create like 20 characters that I kind of want in my universe. But then like I'll like take or I'll go in that suite and maybe I'll take like one guy and be like, okay, I can go and tweak a little bit out of him, and then or like I can make him into like a modern day Bret Hart kind of S character, and I'll just go from there. But like
Right.
I love the creation suites in these games. Like that's probably my only thing I don't have fault with
Yeah.
about this. I'm like, I don't know how you can do it better.
Yeah, I like I said, it just they did so good with that part because it's been in the game for years and they've just gradually made things better. Like, oh, what if you can create your own belt? What if you can create
Mhm.
your own show? Now I wish you actually could have pyro at the beginning of your show.
Oh,
They
that'd
took
be
that
fun.
they took that out. There's nothing that I don't understand why they took out. I guess budget issues probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Are we like towards like what we rate this game yet?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. One last question before we get to
Okay.
that part. It's like, would you recommend that people well, like who would you recommend this game to, and would you recommend this game to people who haven't played or like are lapsed WWE gamers?
If you are a wrestling fan, this is definitely, I think, a game you should pick up, especially if you know about all the inside jokes and references. I feel like this is a game for you. If you're a casual fan, I still think that this is a place for you because this game, like I said, it is streamlined, but it's like it takes skill, but it's also streamlined where it's not that difficult.
Yeah,
Like so, I think that this is still a game that he might feel like hell. My friend who's not even a wrestling fan, he's been playing the game. He's actually been having fun.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, so I would probably say the same thing. I think if you definitely haven't played one of these games or like are a lapsed fan, or even if you're a fan and you really haven't been a fan or like player of the games, I think you should definitely check this one out. That said, give me a scale of 1 to 10. Where would you rate it?
For me, man, who I'd say an 8.5 to a 9. Did
Oh,
like I said, like when I first picked up, like, man, this ain't really gonna be what I think it was. But then when I started getting into it, I say, yo, I'm actually having fun. And like I think that 128 hours, I think that was within like the first 2 weeks. Just because
wow.
just because I was just so engrossed in the game, cause like there's actual love and care put to it. A lot of the character models they don't look like what they're supposed to,
No.
but I feel like the wrestling itself is really really fun.
Yeah.
I haven't went online yet, so I can't talk about the online play. It still might be janky, like it's been for the past 2 years. But as far
I'm
as
right there with you. I haven't been online either.
but as far as like the feel of it, it does feel like you said the pacing of a wrestling match. You can tweak the settings to where the ref can stay down longer after getting hit, or
Mhm.
like how fast this count would be. So I think they do a really good job of the small details and it's like the little things that make this game like a 9 out of 10 for me.
I like that. I like that. I would probably give this like a 8 out of 10. I think there's a couple of things like it almost feels like they're right there. They're just right there,
Right,
but
right.
they kind of have some stuff to tweak. But yeah, I love this. I think this is like a solid step forward, and I hope they keep improving on things. Please, for the love of everything that's dear, make Money in the Bank and other matches like the Royal Rumble mean stuff in like my GM mode. I would love to see like, oh, like I have the money in the bank holder. Now I have some of the power, or I have extra draw power because I have the money in the bank holder, or like
Right.
I also have the Royal Rumble winner, so I get main card of WrestleMania.
Do Also do Survivor Series, like do inter promote like if you can
Yes,
implement Survivor Series where like, oh, I'll put my best superstar up against your best superstar, and then whoever wins that match, it's more points, is more fans towards your brand or what
exactly.
yeah, I'm right
Or
there.
like yeah, like make my GM more mode more competitive in the fact that like you were saying, like make everything mean something. I think that's what we're kind of missing in real life with WWE is like we have meaningless moments that don't mean things. I'm like
Right.
make things mean, make everything matter. Like I even if like you did Survivor Series for like just a little like ratings boost, or here better yet, make like every pay-per-view card have like okay, like there's 8 matches total. You get 4 matches and I get 4 matches, and we're both on the same card. We both like we'll see which matches land, which matches like
Right.
are best for everyone else. You still have that same thing to where you have to put your 4 matches up to where like your first match and your last match has to be your best matches, and your middle matches kind of like just even things
Yeah.
out. Like you can still have that concept, but you can still like amplify that in a way to where like, oh, like more people liked your side of the pay-per-view versus my side of the pay-per-view. And I think
Right.
that would be really cool. And then on Survivor Series, if you do that sort of thing for Survivor Series, make it to where like it's a ratings boost for the winner, and it's also like the winner also gets the main event of the next pay-per-view or the
Right.
main event of like
Right.
of WrestleMania. I think make it to where everything has stakes and you're golden. So yeah, I think there's just little things here and there that kind of like would just raise this thing up from like a 8 to a 9 out of 10, or maybe a 10 out of 10. Like you're
Right.
almost there, WWE 2K. Just work just a little bit harder, make it just a little more detail oriented, and I think you're there.
Right. And also one more thing. For the
Mhm.
men's side of the My Rise, make WrestleMania the final match. I don't know
Oh
why.
my goodness,
I
yeah.
don't know why WWE is trying. It's like WWE is trying, even in real life, to make SummerSlam its second WrestleMania. It's mid-year WrestleMania. Like, stop. No,
No, we
no,
don't. No one believes that. Like no
no,
one believes
nobody.
that.
That's why I already said if Roman loses the title at SummerSlam, I'm not going. If Cody wins the title at SummerSlam, I'm not going to care.
No,
It's
it's also that fact to where like I don't. They're doing the right thing right now to where Cody is outside of like the World Heavyweight Championship picture. Like it seems like they're going to try, and this is just my theory. It seems like they're going to try to keep him occupied until until WrestleMania season next year, or at least like you said, SummerSlam season. I don't want Cody to win that World Heavyweight Championship belt. Anything besides that main title feels like a
oh no, I was
consolation
like,
prize.
nobody needs that consolation prize build. First of all, I don't think it looks good. It just looks like the World Heavyweight titles with a big ass W in the middle.
Hmm.
And then it's like it says, it's the you couldn't beat Roman, here you go prize. And then I'm one of the few people that think I don't know what you think, but I felt like Cody should have won at fucking Mania. He was white. He was white hot. I'm talking about. I feel like he should have won, and I don't know. I don't know why they did it. I think that I feel like that was a bench thing. I
That's
really,
exactly what I was about to say. I'm like, that
I
feels
feel
like a
like
Vince call.
yeah, because I was like, man, up to that point, that match was great. That match was a certified banger, but we can't
Yeah.
have nice things.
No, no. And the crazy thing is like Mania as a whole this year was really good.
Oh yeah,
Except for that last like match kind of left a little sour taste in my mouth as well, to where I was just like
but that
Bianca.
Gunther, but that Gunther,
Oh,
Sheamus, and Drew match though.
so good. So good. That one was really good. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte
Oh
was
yeah, that
like
was good. I thought she almost killed Charlotte. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
did too. With that, yeah, where Charlotte landed on her nose, basically. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my goodness, this woman's dead. I just saw a murder. But
yeah.
like that part was really good. And then like an underrated match is like Bianca Belair and Asuka. They had a really good match.
I
Like,
just feel they had bad build. The
yeah,
build was it just wasn't that. I feel like they kind of slighted Bianca
and
in her
Asuka,
title
yeah.
reign. Like I've told people all the time. I like Asuka over in Japan. She was a monster. She
Same as
was a
Shinsuke.
yeah,
Yeah.
same as she was a monster. But it's like they don't know how to push her. And Bianca, I love my black women excelling, and I just feel like they don't like
That
celebrate her reign like Romans, and it's a shame because she's a black woman, and also she's about to hold the title for what 400 something days now.
Yeah, something like that. It's also one of those things to where like I look at her like the way they book her, and they book her like she's John Cena from the mid 2000s.
Right,
And I and
right.
I don't get like, did we not learn that John Cena didn't like, he kind of got over despite the way he was booked, not because of the way he was booked?
Right.
And yeah, yeah, I'm right there. I'm to that
Make
point
her
to
a heel.
where she's going to get like soured on like really
Yeah.
quick.
Like make her a heel. She does great as a heel. Like NXT, she was phenomenal at
She
like
did
she
good work. Yeah.
yeah.
She did good work. But Jason, before we go, I have one last thing to ask you, and that is what games are you going to be playing in the near future?
We already know that Final Fantasy 15. I mean 16, the Final Fantasy 16. I'm not. I'm really thinking about Diablo.
I hear good
I'm
things. I'm hearing
yeah.
really good things.
I'm like I'm not a huge Diablo fan, but like from what I've been seeing, I'm like, yo, this look like it can be a banger. And Spider-Man, you already know me when it comes to comic book fan.
Mhm.
I'm a I'm a Batman and a Spider-Man bitch. So anything with that minute, I'm there.
I
I'll
feel
go.
you. I feel you. So, my last thing I'm going to ask you is, Jason, where can the good people find you?
Man, y'all can find me everywhere at Bring the Popcorn. Just type that in. We have a website, the www.bringthepopcorn.com, where our merch store is there, our ratings are there. I want to put a place where the fans can leave comments and like suggestions. So
Okay.
like I said, I'm all about community. So always join the community. And if you want to appear on the show, just email me at bringthepopcorn93@gmail.com. That's BRANGDAPOPCORN93@gmail.com. And I will even reach email on the show. And yeah, just help us grow. Just help us grow.
All right, everyone, check them out at Bring the Popcorn. Check out the Bring the Popcorn at all your favorite podcast platforms, as well as Facebook if you want to watch the recent episode. But you know, Jason, I want to say thank you for being on the show. It's been great having you. I love the conversation. It
Oh yeah,
sounds
man.
it sounds like we could have talked about this all
Yeah,
day.
hey, I love wrestling, man. We definitely could talk about this all day.
All right, for sure, for sure. So, Jason, thank you so much for being on the show. I've been Sebastion. That's been Jason. Don't forget to check out Bring the Controller Popcorn. Don't forget to join the Single Player Experience Discord server. And, just hit your boy up if you have any comments or questions about the show. In the meanwhile, thank you so much for watching this one or listening on all your favorite podcast platforms. In the meanwhile, peace out, everyone. Bye.
Peace.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Also, for more videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here. Thanks again for watching the video, and for more like it, stay right here at the Pro Nerd Report channel. So that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. I also want to let you know about the Single Player Experience Discord server. It's a perfect place for single player gamers to talk about the good single player games that they've been playing lately and to get video game recommendations. Think of it kind of like a book club for single player gamers. The link to join will be in the description. Once you're in, feel free to share your video game backlog list, talk about the good single player games you've been playing, or give your feedback on the show. If you have a game you think it should be recommended and should be reviewed, let me know about it right there. Before we go, I just want to thank you once again for listening to today's episode. Stay safe, stay gaming, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.